Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight, the USA Trucks Eastern Division tackles Atlanta, and we're on the older layout of Atlanta, the non-super speedway style, so that gives us a little bit different of a race here tonight than what you would normally expect from current Atlanta. And on the front row, you got Trevor Venture's teammates, the 9 of Alan Malcolm, alongside the number 10 of Jordan Walker. Behind them, you've got Guido Piano and Gannon Bird. James Gunner, who just got a win at North Wilkesboro here in the Eastern Division, rolling off into the top 10 here tonight alongside Ralph Oberstadt, Scott Speed and Cannon Gage, Ant Meeperson and Chaz Chadwick, Nate Newman and Andre Stefan, Al Bunch and David Bird, Bradley Ream and Jack Ross, Skylar Taylor with James Reddick, John Brinker with Taden Berggren. Skeletor joins the field for his first ever race here in the Eastern Division alongside Eli the Wolf. Then you've got Jeffrey Gerald and Ham Bergerson, Chris Mousy and Ryan Little. A pair of KTM. It's interesting now with Finley Herwig and Skeletor. Now you have two KTM trucks in the field now. Finley Herwig alongside Andrew Moger. Then you've got Asiel Escobar and Chris Hergeson, Zach Armstrong and James Robert, Jakov Rosevich and Gerardo P. Luxembourg, Kyle Ottawa, Mark Shelton, Jamie Horseman, AJ Kosnoff, and at the very back, starting in his first ever USA Trucks race, Johnny Blaney. 39 trucks competing for the win here and 151 miles around Atlanta Motor Speedway. 98 laps in total.
Dan, got your radio on over there? Yeah, 10-4. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Kenny, you got me? Oh, yeah, I got you loud and clear there. That's too, Jeff, you got me?
And we're off and racing now as the 9 and the 10 pretty even off the line there. This Atlanta has been very well tested. I know that we're going to have a spectacular race here tonight. 98 laps might not feel like enough laps around the track. It's going to be quite the barn burner. And so leading the first lap, it is Alan Malcolm in the 9, but he's going to have strong competition from the 19 of Guido Piano. Piano making a bold charge on the inside. Doesn't look like he has much drafting help from anyone behind him. He's purely making up that momentum on speed. It's a Toyota trio running strong here. Two of which Trevor Ventures, one of which TRD Motorsports. TRD, that of Atlee Weiss. Would have seen Atlee Weiss in this 19 truck last year here. Has stepped down from full-time truck competition to focus on his Cup career. If any of y'all are listening, look at the chat or anything. I'm like, wow, we have 3 people, but apparently we don't have very many people. That's impressive. The 3 of Oberstadt showing some strength here early, up to second. Race winning James Gunner now making that move up to second. A lot of moving pieces right now up at the front of the field. One thing staying relevant, staying consistent is that 9 at the lead. Here comes Gunner to the lead, taking the position from Alan Malcolm here. James Gunner trying to prove that it ain't no fluke that he got that win earlier this year at North Wilkesboro just a couple weeks ago. Skylar Taylor, she's on the charge now too. The 45 Subaru Baja, brought to you by Costco. And Chaz Chadwick trying to get alongside her. We got some good racing action early on here. Looks like Malcolm gets the lead back. And the race is on here, folks. We're going to have a strong battle for the race win here today. 98 laps will probably go by pretty quickly here. Three wide for second place. And the 59 of Gannon Bird, impressively. There's some new names that we're seeing at the front of the field here that we don't usually see every week. Gannon Bird has not won yet in USA Trucks. The head honcho of TSI Motorsports. But now we've got Jordan Walker to the lead, as Trevor Ventures still seems to shovel, or at least shuffle to the front here in the early running at Atlanta. Even though it's not the super speedway layout, they sure are packed up like it is. Great racing action here every lap that we've seen here today. That 32 is leading now. It's all the way back to 8th. Chadwick trying to make it 3 wide for the lead here. Didn't have quite enough momentum to make that happen. And now Chadwick getting by Jordan Walker. Eli the Wolf mixing it up with the leaders here. Good chance that we'll see at least one pit stop, maybe two, depending on how cautions and all that might fall. But as of right now, if the race goes caution free, we might have a one-stop race on our hands here. Eli the Wolf under attack. Looks like Gannon Bird with a good push from James Gunner. As this trio at the front kind of establishing a little bit of a breakaway here. Jordan Walker goes low, Chaz Chadwick goes high. Alan Malcolm just kind of maintaining both lines of draft behind him. Gannon Bird with a good run here. James Gunner gets shuffled high, and unfortunately that was the wrong call to make that move there. Jordan Walker to the lead. And man, the racing action just can't get any tighter here at the front. Al Bunch has joined the party. TRD really looking strong here today. Not just TRD, but anyone in a Toyota power plant putting on quite the show here. And then you got a bunch of Dodges mixed in there with the lone Chevy, the 29 of Wolf. That's been a very highlighted topic in the series, is the fact that there's only been one Chevy victory in USA Trucks. Could we potentially see a second one here tonight if Eli the Wolf is able to shock the field with a surprise win? And now, just like that, Eli the Wolf trying to steal the lead away from the number 10 truck. Where did Malcolm? Oh, Malcolm shuffled back to about 6th. Amongst the top 3, 2 of which have never won a race yet in the trucks. And then you got a whole bunch of past winners inside this top 5, top 10 area. So the field continues to get smaller and smaller for the amount of drivers not to hit victory lane yet. If you go through, Chadwick has won, James Gunner. I would like to say Malcolm has won. I could be mistaken on that. Al Bunch and Bradley Ream, of course, have won. Andre Stefan, Guido Piano. Our third one would be that of Ralph Oberstadt, who's not won. It's only his first year in racing. So, Ant Me Person, a very highly coveted winner here in the USA Trucks, as well as Jack Ross. But then you got Hamburgerson and the likes of Skylar Taylor, Scott Speed, Cannon Gage. So there's still a lot of drivers that have not gotten a win yet. And just about 90% of the Chevy camp, those that have made their whole career with Chevy, haven't seen victory lanes. So first race ever for Skeletor, that 88 KTM AMA entry. And so far so good, putting in a top 20 campaign if he continues at this pace. Nate Newman right there in front of him. Wow, what the heck happened? Okay, we've hit lag spikes here for a moment, but I think we'll get through it. Lap traffic already becoming a factor as they catch up to Osiel Escobar, putting him a lap down here. And maybe he's got some other problems going on with that 65 engine. So first truck to go a lap down here today. That's only going to make it a little bit harder for the lead crew to avoid getting hung up with lap traffic right now. That's always a hassle for these guys. Gannon Bird right there in the lead. Number 59 TSI Haviland Dodge Ram. Chadwick's won this season already. James Gunner. So those are your 2 winners, running second and tentatively third if they get by the 2 on the outside there. And about to be running for the lead as Chadwick takes the lead away. We're early in this one. We're still 3/4 of the race to go, but we're about 1/4 of the way through it already. Definitely going to be a quick race here at Atlanta, and it's not letting us down. It's putting up a good show so far, minus the frame rate just hitting the wall here. I know for a fact that Al Bunch has been disappointed not to get the win in the Cup Series yet. It's just a matter of time before puzzle pieces fall his way. Having a good run here today in the TRD Toyota, and could potentially sweeten the pot a little bit if he can get a victory lane today at Atlanta. All three series are going to be at this track this week, so trucks tonight, Bridge to Cup on Thursday, and the Cup Series on Friday. So full gambit at Atlanta. It's one of the best tracks that I've seen racing-wise in NR2003. So I figured it was best to have them all have a triple header with all series at the same track this week. And I think it's safe that we can at least connect the dots as to why I'm not using the modern Atlanta. This track runs nicely as it is. It almost races kind of like the way they repaved it to be. Honestly, 4 wide right there for 4th place. That's going to be hairy. Skyler in the middle makes connected. Oh, and they're going to wreck from 4th place there. Oh, and that is going to be a gnarly field wreck there. Big chunk to the right, and there's still more coming. This is, oh. Yep, that was a tough deal for everyone. Bummer. We could see that one coming. It was 4 wide for position. And I think it's going to be whoever's able to make it out of this one. Had a truck that got upside down. The 11 of Mark Shelton. So let's get... It's going to be a hard one to stomach for a few drivers that were having a good run here today. It was so close that they almost saved it at first. You could tell that the wreck was happening, then it wasn't, and then there was no coming back. For Al Bunch, there was nowhere to go. Al Bunch gets around for a tumble. The 19 of Guido Piano gets tangled up. Cannon Gage, Eli the Wolf, Hamburgerson gets some pretty significant damage there. And then the rest of them that just come piling on in. John Brinker gets connected, collecting GP Luxembourg, Chris Mousy, Johnny Blaney, Finley Herwig, and then the 11 right here. Unfortunately, he just had nowhere to go. Clipping the 91 of Blaney, getting hit behind there from Taden Bergeron and just tumbling down the backstretch at Atlanta. Might have to see a couple different angles. I don't know if there were anyone that was really close to missing it. Might be interesting to watch in-car on someone that was actually avoiding the wreck. Malcolm got pretty significant damage there. Yeah, Al Bunch just wrong place at the wrong time. Guido Piano, that's a heartbreak for TRD Motorsports. Coming in the... Yeah, there wasn't much that came through and saved it there. Wow, we might have to watch the in-car on the 43 and see just how that transpired. Looked like he went through the wall. Dang. Woofty. That was pretty brutal. Maybe check one more camera angle on that. So we had the big one here at Atlanta, and only 27 laps into the race. Backstretch just turned into a parking lot. Yeah, for a split second, that 43 ghosted through the wall. So did the 62 of Reddick make it through unscathed? Yeah, not quite. I mean, close, but he got hung up there, got run into. There wasn't anyone that made it through very cleanly. Jamie Horseman and David Bird, let's actually go on their in-cam here. In-cam of David Bird and see just how close this was for comfort. The seas parted for David Bird there. Contact with the other cars made him clear the mess, so. Now there'll be a few less trucks running in the race here, and we're gonna get reset on where they're all running. So on the front, it's still, you got Jordan Walker at least that has maintained the front. Bradley Ream now in second, Chaz Chadwick in third, James Gunner in fourth, Ant Meeperson in fifth, Andre Stefan sixth, Ralph Oberstadt seventh, Jeffrey Gerald in eighth, Skeletor up to ninth in his series debut. Impressive run there for the 88 KTM Dodge Ram. And then you've got the 00 of Jack Ross in rounding out your top 10. Andrew Moger and his teammate, the 72 of Nate Newman. David Bird, who made it through the chaos. Scott Speed, Jamie Horseman, Jakov Rosevich, and basically the rest of the field as you see through the rest of the lineup there. Looks like we had quite a few retirements. Now getting into that list of retirements, Skylar Taylor, she's out. 68 of Finley Herwig is out. 79 of James Robert out. 19 of Guido Piano. 29 Eli the Wolf. 91 of Johnny Blaney. And as you see, 5, 87, 59, 78, 11, and 43 all retired out due to the accident. But now we're going to get reset for the race here, get going back on lap 32 with about 12 trucks out of the race now. So and there's no telling if we might get more chaos and carnage to ensue here in the latter half of the race. Skeletor all the way up into the top 5 now, giving Ralph Oberstadt a push towards the lead. Going from not even being in the series to running for 4 wide again. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this again in the same scenario almost? They made it through, but holy cow. They're putting on extra effort to get this race. Well, things have settled down just a little bit at the front here, as your lead is now Ant Meeperson, Bradley Ream, Skeletor, Andrew Moger, and Jamie Horseman, top 5 as they run. Andrew Moger yet to win in the USA Trucks. It would be huge to get the job done, especially in a Volkswagen. Getting Volkswagen potentially their first shot at victory here today. It's crazy how the lead shuffles around here so rapidly. At one point it was the Trevor Ventures teammates of Alan Malcolm and Jordan Walker. And of course, after the chaos, it looks like Alan Malcolm might have sustained a little bit of damage that's slowing up his pace, but at least he's still out there running. Moger now up to second here. And the faces that come to the front keep changing up as we now have Jack Ross in the picture. Jordan Walker leading the way now. Skeletor in his debut, and even David Bird, who sneaked through the wreckage, is running up in the top 5 now. Still have at least one Chevy represented in the fight for the win here tonight. It was especially huge when Chevy got their first win. I can only imagine how big of a victory it would be tonight for them to get their second. It would feel like another monkey off their back since they've only been able to secure one win in the USA Trucks. It's crazy to say a team powered by Chevy, that Chevys have been constantly with a monkey on their back. When you look at history in real life, how dominant Chevy's been through all of motorsports. So I think what it does show, though, is how strong and how talented and how diverse the field is, as we've got so many different manufacturers running and fighting for wins here, that it's just that steep of competition that Chevy, they're not behind. They've got the most amount of drivers out there fielding a Chevy. So by, deduction of, process, they should have more opportunities to get that win. It just so happens that maybe they're spread a little too thin, being as large of a camp as they are. I'd say there's about 30% of the field running a Chevy engine, and 30% when there's about 7 different manufacturers. That's the majority right there. You got some manufacturers that might only have like 5% of the field. I mean, look at Volkswagen. They only have 5 trucks in total amongst the 80 trucks that we have competing between the East and the West. So, but Moger putting in a good run here for Volkswagen, trying to keep that 5% to the front of the field. His teammate Nate Newman also cracking back up into the top 10 here, fighting for a potential run at the win here. And pardon the slight glitch bugs that we're getting here. It looks like we're going to be able to make it through without it totally bricking the wall, but yeah, if you just tuned in, if you missed anything, you missed the big one here in the USA Trucks. A huge pileup turned the backstretch into a parking lot here tonight. and to the tune of about 12 trucks out of the race. Still got a bunch of contenders for the win here, and a lot of racy drivers trying to go 3 and 4 wide, really duking it out here for the win tonight. So as it stands, obviously our points leader is that of Chaz Chadwick over Jordan Walker and Ant Meperson. So second and third in the points, running 1 and 2 right now. Chaz Chadwick still in the fight, but he's gotten stranded outside the top 10. Fighting back here for 15th actually. And still got a lot of racing here. He could work his way back up to the front, but struggling at least a little bit on this stint here. Wow, Nate Newman up to 4th. Skeletor still proven to be a contender here as we've hit halfway in the race here tonight. And Nate Newman gonna get inside of Skeletor here for 3rd. Skeletor drops back to 4th briefly. And so now it's Toyota, Dodge, Volkswagen running 1, 2, 3. Dodge, Volkswagen, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, and Ford, Dodge, Chevy rounding out the last of that field behind them. Right now, this seems kind of like the calm before the storm, as everyone's kind of calculating their moves, trying to figure out where to set themselves up for the last charge at the end here. Still half a race to go at this point, and I don't believe we're going to see any pit stops since that caution fell where it did. Everyone came down pit road for what they could get during the caution. So Jordan Walker has been pretty dominant this whole time, and I don't know if anyone else has actually got what it takes to beat him here tonight. He's been pretty strong. His teammate, the 9, had led briefly and unfortunately got tangled up in the 4 wide wreck running for 2nd place. It took out 12 trucks here tonight. Skeletor and Nate Newman fighting for 3rd there. Skeletor settles back into 4th. Andrew Moger getting by Bradley Ream on the outside. And Jordan Walker and Ant Meperson just hooked up nose to tail, running 1st and 2nd up there. Skeletor really does feel like the wild card in the mix, as no one really knew what to expect from a newcomer here. Lap traffic, the 84 of GP Luxembourg got wound up in that wreck. He's going to hold up traffic here. Going to wait till everyone gets around him, but we might have to give him the DQ flag so that he's not a sitting hazard. Go ahead and DQ him here. There we go. We're all safe and sound as everyone gets around him, and he's going to pull off the track and not be a hazard to the rest of the field. So we continue onward, and it's still Jordan Walker and Ant Me Person at the front. Andre Stefan working his way up into the top 5 here as he gets by Skeletor for 5th. Andre putting in a good charge on the low side here, going way low, trying to get as much momentum to carry into the next turn. And he's going to use that momentum on Bradley Ream, just barely gets to his rear quarter. But he's going to be able to complete the pass on the backstretch here on Bradley Ream. Nate Newman behind him. Andrew Moger up to 3rd. This might be an interesting battle to follow to the end as well. There's a lot of neat storylines developing here late in the race at Atlanta. 151 miles, going to go by in a blur. And so far, over halfway through, only seen one wreck that took out 12 trucks tonight. And it's been a Trevor Ventures kind of night. We've seen it week in, week out so far. They just haven't been able to get it done here on the East Coast. We've seen the West Coast swept by Trevor Ventures between the two Trevors, with Trevor Vaden securing 2 wins and Trevor Walker securing the other win. And so it's just a matter of time before Trevor Ventures' dominance carries over into this Eastern Division, as Jordan Walker, strong contender here, and his teammate Alan Malcolm, no slouch either. Alan Malcolm led at the beginning. Both of them started on the front row, or at least in the front area. And part of that wreck earlier in the race included the 9 of Alan Malcolm, as it was a 4-wide fight for 2nd place. And so now that things have kind of settled down here, and we're getting down to 33 laps to go, 36 laps to go, my bad. You're going to have to start deciding who's going to have what for the end of this one. Got to wonder if the tin truck's using up his tires, maybe even using up his gas, that these other trucks behind might be able to mount a charge and close the gap. We could also have another caution with another double file restart that totally shakes this race into chaos yet again. Now Stefan up to 3rd, but only for a brief moment as Andrew Moger gets back by him here. This side-by-side battling is only going to allow those 2 leaders to continue to drive away from the rest of the field. So we take a glimpse through the rest of the field outside the top 5. You've got 6th place right now belongs to Nate Newman. And then you've got Kyle Ottawa right behind him. And actually, 3 Chevys, to tail there the 96 of David Bird and the 3 of Ralph Oberstadt. James Gunner just a little bit further back, and then you have the LFG teammates, the 16 and the 18. Chadwick has worked his way back up to 12th. Jeffrey Gerald in 13th. Jamie Horseman, Zach Armstrong, and Jack Ross rounding out your top 16. The rest of these trucks might have sustained a little bit of damage from the carnage, so their truck's not running quite at full pace here. We saw Hamburgerson get kind of crunched in that wreck, as well as the 9 and the 62 behind him. They're still out there running, still have opportunities here to pick up some more spots before the end of this one. Asiel Escobar 2 laps down, unfortunately. They're still trying to work the kinks out of that Todd Rat Racing Toyota. It's been a rough one, but with all rough spells, there always seems to be a comeback story. So we're gonna keep our eyes on that 65 truck for the rest of the year, and maybe his goal will be fighting to get in that top 20 in points, so that he can fight for race wins later on when the combine championship comes to be. Since once the East and the West combine to fight for the championship, it'll be the 10 best from the East, the 10 best from the West, and then everyone else from the top 20 from the East and the West will be locked in to the main events for the combined championship battle. And then we'll have an LCQ to determine the final 2 spots for each race. So truly, you want to be in the top 20 at the end of the season. Rather, the regular season before the chase, the West-East chase comes around at the end of the regular season. But of course, we still have the win and you're in scenario, to where if you win and even, not in the top 20 in points, you get locked in to the chase at the end of the year. That'll only apply if you stay within the top 30 in points. But with a win, you shouldn't have any trouble staying in the top 30 in points. So this is hairy. I don't know if I can do this without the other folks getting by him here. Go ahead and I'll dial it up. Just hopefully it executes right. Yep, sweeto. So the 54 no longer going to be a sitting roadblock for these guys. Still 1-2, Walker and Me Person. We haven't seen this kind of strength from Ant Me Person in quite a while. So perhaps Ant Me Person finally getting settled back into a championship contending run that we haven't seen since the likes of 2022. Still Skeletor in the top 5 here. Our top 4 break away from the rest of the field as it is. The lap traffic kind of helped divide them at the front of the field here. But amongst the top 4, we've got 2 very proven veterans with wins to their names, and 2 drivers also in the top 4 that are seeking their first win in the series. It would be really neat to see Andrew Moger or Skeletor, especially making his debut here tonight, potentially pulling off the surprise, shocking victory. Here we go, Moger going low here. Finally, with a little bit of free road in front of him, he's going to be able to fight for the lead. He's going to take the spot from the 13 of Me Person. This is going to allow Jordan Walker to just get a little bit further away here. And there we have Moger up to second. And Me Person back to third. Me Person about to be under attack from Skeletor. The speeds are significantly slower for this 82. Surprisingly, Osiel Escobar not that bad pace-wise, but yeah, this 62 is gonna, or the 82 rather, need to give him the DQ flag. He'll pull off right here with the leaders coming up on him. And is not gonna mess with our battle at the lead here. I don't want that right now. Moger closing that gap ever so slightly to the lead here. And Me Person, though, not letting him get too far away. Me Person gonna try to just poke his nose out there, get a little bit of the cleaner air on the grill. Moger's still holding on to second. He's gonna have to hope that this lap traffic here holds up the 10 slightly. Momentum not quite on the side of Moger here, as the 13 pushes it 3 wide with lap traffic. Moger gets shuffled back to third here. Skeletor peeking on the inside. He's going to bump the 74 out of the way. And down to 20, or actually, yeah, 18 laps to go now. This race is going to be over in a jiffy. And it's down to 4 trucks. It's still very, very lively for the win here tonight. Any of these 4 trucks could get the job done. Here comes Skeletor going low. Going to take position away from the 13, but this is what we saw last time. They get side by side. This allows the 10 to kind of sneak away, and that draft starts to break. They're not able to keep up with the 10 truck, but rather the 13 of Me Person keeps within line and doesn't lose the draft to the guy that just passes him. So we'll have to see if Skeletor learned from the mistakes of the 74 on making this move. Skeletor might have, as you see, he's starting to close that gap to the 10 car actually relatively quickly here. 88 of Skeletor in only his first maiden voyage here in the USA Trucks. Flying the colors of KTM on that Dodge Ram. American Motorcyclist Association as well on board for the sponsorage of that truck. Man, what a debut. Even if he doesn't get the job done, a top 3, top 4 finish. Very much in the books here for him today. If these 3 could just work together, they could catch that 10 truck and pass him. But it seems like Me Person doesn't have quite the truck to get the job done on making a move for the lead. And every time they get by Ant Me Person, he's just got enough speed to get back by. So it's a tough battle here. Jordan Walker really holding off some hard chargers behind him. Down to 13 laps to go now. As it's Ant Me Person back up to second. Honestly, at this point, I think the only way that Moger or Skeletor can get the job done is if they follow the 13 and get the 13 up alongside the 10. They can both drive through to take the lead away. But they're not going to cooperate like that. They're going to continue to duke it out with each other. And Jordan Walker is just going to be able to silently laugh to the bank on this one, as these guys cannot coordinate a race-winning move behind him. There you go. And now we've got Ant Me Person and Andrew Moger. Going to close the door on the 88 there. Couldn't have asked for a better battle here tonight. Great battle, great racing action all night long around mile and a half here of Atlanta. Moger's going to have another shot here. If he plays his cards right, he could get back in the mix. Ant Me Person needs to get up alongside the 10 of Walker here. We did just see the 9 of Alan Malcolm go down pit road. I imagine due in part to the damage he sustained earlier in the race, that maybe that is no correlation with the leaders here. But we might just have to keep an eye on whether or not the leaders have to pit at the end of this one. That could make things interesting, as we've got more people coming down pit road. One thing's for certain, that could open a window to a potential caution if we have people leaving pit road that come and rejoin the racing surface. And we might even have to enact the green-white checkers here. Yeah, they're getting more and more people down pit road here. Well, I can't enable green-white checkers apparently, because I can't open up windows, but we do have our leaders coming down pit road, it looks like. So everyone's going to have to make one more pit stop. And it's down to 7 laps now, 6 laps to go, as Moger leads this time by. If caution comes out, that could really shake things up here. And if caution does come out, I'll try as hard as I can to get the yellows to work in. So the 10, we're going to probably hop back on the camera there and follow the 10 on pit exit, as Moger just now hits pit road. Damn, the 9, I don't know if that's going to be for position. It's probably just to keep his lap, actually, so he didn't go a lap down. Man, I did not expect this to happen here today. This is one of those things that you can't always forecast to happen. Skeletor might be able. Ooh, whoa, the 72. That was tight there. Here we go. Ant Me Person. This is potentially first, second, and third on track here, as you've got Jordan Walker, Ant Me Person, and Skeletor all within the same zip code of each other. And only now 5 laps remain as Jordan Walker and Andrew Moger rejoins the track right in front of him. So Moger, with the pit strategy, is going to secure the lead and hold it from Jordan Walker. Andrew Moger, what an impressive turn of events here. He's going to have to hold that lead, and that ain't no easy task, as Jordan Walker has a very, very strong truck behind him. Still 2 trucks out on track. I don't know if they're going to push the fuel mileage game to the end here, but we should see this be the shuffle of our leaders. Jordan Walker should be back to the lead here this time by, I imagine. Yep, right there. First, second, third, and fourth. Andrew Moger held the lead briefly, but 3 laps to go now. It is going to be a tall order to get the job done. Skeletor in his series debut, now up to third here. But don't count out the lap traffic. This could get interesting, as they've caught a whole gaggle of lap traffic with just a couple laps to go. And it's going to become a factor here, as they're still quite a ways off from the checkered flag. They're going to have to work their way around significantly slower lap traffic with 2 laps to go here. Jordan Walker catches the 62 and should be able to execute a pass on him pretty quickly here. Doesn't seem to slow him up too much, as he got 2 laps to go now. We're going to have to see how Moger handles the 62 there of Reddick. And it's going to be white flag this time by. No caution, so the race will be official. But it seems that Jordan Walker's just got too much to handle, as he's going to get by some more lap traffic pretty quickly here. Andrew Moger looks like he's going to have to settle for a solid second here today. And no one had anything for Jordan Walker, as Jordan Walker is going to make it 3 different Trevor Ventures trucks to win so far in the USA Trucks Early Championship campaign. He now joins Trevor and Trevor from the west side, bringing home victory today on the east side. Moger coming home second, Ant Me Person third, Skeletor fourth, 5th place James Gunner, 6th Jack Ross, 7th Kyle Ottawa, 8th Bradley Ream, 9th David Bird, 10th Nate Newman, 11th Andre Stefan, 12th Jeffrey Gerald, 13th Zach Armstrong, 14th Ralph Oberstadt, and rounding out your top 15, the 18 of Chaz Chadwick. So mark it up as as a day that he was able to finish all the laps, but not possibly getting all the points that were on the table for him. Gonna be able to fight next time out in 2 weeks when they return to racing action. So impressive run there. It was a pretty dominant one. It was Trevor Ventures show of dominance here tonight, as Jordan Walker and Alan Malcolm were really the stars of the show. Did see some impressive, surprise runners at the front of the field, though, as we saw Andrew Moger and even Skeletor running for the win here. So a lot of things we can take from tonight's finish here at Atlanta, and it'll only help us get hyped up for the next two races that we have in the next couple nights, as we'll be racing this exact same track for both nights of racing between Bridge to Cup and Sylvania Cup action. Congrats to Jordan Walker. Great race there. 3 races in and 3 different winners on this East Coast. And now we can actually start piecing together a little bit of the chase picture, as we've gotten 3 races in. We're about 1/5 of the way through the regular season, so 1/5 gives us at least a little bit of a bookmark to look at for competition amongst these drivers. And yeah, no, good race, good action. Fortunately for some, wound up in the huge pileup right at about lap 32 here tonight. That's bound to happen once in a while. 3, 1, 2, 3. And Jordan Walker. So, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Sorry it was a little bit later tonight, but we got it in within an hour and had some great racing action. So, hopefully y'all can tune in Thursday night, as we will have the Bridge to Cup action from Atlanta here. And then Friday night with the Sylvania Cup. So, thanks again, everyone. Congrats to Trevor Ventures and Jordan Walker getting the job done here tonight. And this championship battle is very much in its infancy, so starting to see some names that we might be looking at as potential champions in the series, as there won't be a defending champion fighting for the win here this season. So thanks again, everyone. Hopefully you have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Jake